we're going to talk education, and I'm going to get educated on something that I know nothing about. Nothing. Somebody asked me one year, years ago, they said, "Where'd you go to college?" I said, "College, are you kidding me?" I said, "I barely got out of third grade." Come on. Sandy, welcome. I'm so glad you're here because you have a class that I need. I told you I am guilty of not using my iPhone for everything I need. And you are here because a dear friend of mine, David Ralston, was instrumental in having North Georgia campus come to Blue Ridge.
Yes.
It was amazing. That was his love. That was the last thing he got to do to see happen.
It's truly, we owe so much to Speaker David Ralston and his desire to be able to provide a quality education and access for this region of North Georgia. It will have his legacy is going to impact generations in our community.
And I told you we go from Ball Ground to Turtletown, and you have had in this class that you're going to teach me.
I'm going to get to tell you all about the P.E.A.K.S program at UNG Blue Ridge.
And y'all, when she was telling me about it, I'm like, "Are you serious?" I've had an iPhone for about 8-9 years now. I've never known how to do everything on it. And y'all have a class. And I said this, and this is the truth. If I didn't have somebody at home to program the VCR, the DVD, and the Blu-ray, I couldn't watch a movie because I don't get that stuff. It frustrates me, and I get mad, and I throw the remote down, and I'm done.
We won't watch TV tonight.
Yeah, but you have something that is really, I never thought about a class for this. Tell me about it.
Yes. What I was so excited to get to come and talk with you today is about the UNG P.E.A.K.S program.
And P.E.A.K.S
P.E.A.K.S stands for Personal Enrichment Action Knowledge Series. And this is a free community program targeting 55 and over, which happens to be our largest growing demographic in this portion of Georgia.
Wow.
When we look at our population growth, this is where we are seeing a significant growth. And currently, I serve as the executive director for the University of North Georgia's Blue Ridge campus, and we were doing a phenomenal job of working with high school students, dual enroll, traditional students, but we were not serving our 55 and over community members. And that is where our P.E.A.K.S program was born.
Wow.
So it's a free program. We have programming every Thursday at UNG Blue Ridge, and it's available to our community. It's workshops by your peers. So there's no stress in learning how to use an iPhone.
You're not going to get graded?
No, you won't get graded. You won't have a test. There isn't going to be an exam.
Because I failed the test?
No, you would. But after your class, you would pass with flying colors.
Okay.
It's a program, and it began a year ago this summer, and we tried it. We said, let's offer some community classes at no cost to our community members on topics they're interested in. And it is 55 and over individuals telling their stories. And when you think of the vast life experience and expertise that we have in our community, what a phenomenal way to share that.
Well, let me tell you something. I can't believe I'm going to admit this. I have had stuff on YouTube since 2009. Okay,
Wow.
2009, that's 14 years. And my directors, my editors, my audio, they put that on there for me. I didn't ever do it myself. I've never known how to do it. Well, then I got this new grandbaby that everybody loves, Xana, so I started using my iPhone and just doing little short reels and putting them on there for Xana. Well, guess what I learned Sunday morning? I can't believe I'm admitting this. I did a video, but I wanted to do the voiceover later because I wanted to think about what I wanted to say instead of just flying by the seat of my pants like I usually do. And so I looked down there and there was a button and it said record now. And I was like so excited. And I said, well, I've learned something.
That's
new.
right.
I've had this phone 4 years.
As
And
long
I
as-
just learned this Sunday. So a class might be in order.
And that's, we actually had the opportunity to partner with ETC and work with them on like this past summer, we did a technology series. And it specifically dealt with questions that often come into the help desk here at ETC. And some of the topics were how to reset your router, how to work with your...
I've had to call them and ask that, yeah.
How to work an iPhone, different questions. And so we were very excited in our first summer technology series. We had over 220 registrations.
That's crazy.
And
that's pretty awesome.
it is, just in
That's
a
pretty awesome.
8-week summer session. And so we did an afternoon session every Thursday on technology, and it was a hands-on workshop. And our hope and our plans are to continue technology afternoons presentations in the upcoming summer, because our program runs during the year. On Thursday afternoons at 2:30, we have a workshop seminar. And then during the summer, every Thursday, we do morning sessions with a lunch and then an afternoon session.
Wow.
Because in addition to seminars, what we found is this program truly builds community and it connects new residents with residents who've been in our community for a long time and just gives them an opportunity to build that sense of community, make new friends, and get together each week.
Right. Well, and did I tell you this story about every once in a while I think I'm going to retire? And I'll say, oh Lord, I got too much going on. I got this. I'm just going not do that anymore. And then somebody in Mike's restaurant walks up to me and says, well, we moved to the area a few years ago, and you've taught us so much because we watch you and you tell us where to go, what to do, the knowledge. I have shared lately with somebody about taking the GED. And can we talk a little bit about other programs that y'all offer?
Yes.
Because the GED, there's so many women and guilty as charged who quit school, went to work, and then needed to get their education. It's available all over North Georgia, and y'all are a part of that.
Yes, right. UNG does not have a specific GED program, but we work very closely with the technical college systems that have phenomenal adult learning center programs and in community GED programs, because that is a starting point, and it truly will open doors for an individual to have that GED. It opens up opportunities that were otherwise closed for them.
Right.
And just the importance of that.
Yeah.
And
you know, one of the things that I was so there were lots of jobs available, but without that GED, it shut her down for about 75% of the jobs that were available. And I said, well, just get this. And I this is my advice to anybody. I think, and it may be traumatizing to some people, I think that you're smarter than you think you are, and you remember more than you think you do. And I think that you should take the GED and then see if you fail or pass without a class. And they don't advise that because they said it scares people. But I panic when I'm learning and getting ready for a test. And when I was getting ready for it, I was running 3 businesses, had 5 kids, 9 dogs, and a very demanding husband, and I was trying to take the class. I was late every night, and I would run into Chattahoochee Tech, which was then Pickens Tech, and slide into my desk, and my teacher would go, you're late again. Yes, sir, but I'm doing it. The class was hard for me to be at every single night, but then when I aced that test, the feeling was so good. It was so good, and I think had I had taken the test first and probably not done well, I would have panicked and maybe not gone to class, but I still think I wanted to know, was I smarter than a 5th grader?
you are definitely.
I wanted to know, was I smarter than a 5th grader? So.
And that sense of accomplishment,
oh my
of
gosh,
getting that, of starting your education.
And it's not a degree of any kind,
but
it's a GED, but I was so proud of it.
It opens up so many doors. And for many people, that's the first step on a whole education process that, again, opens doors and just continues
I know
to
somebody
provide
who
growth.
now has her doctorate, and she started with her GED.
Yes.
Now, you think about that, guys. I just got my GED to prove that I could do it because my husband said, I don't know how you're going to have time. And I thought, well, I'll show you. Don't ever tell me I can't do something.
With kids and dogs and a business.
And the businesses, And I did it. And once I did, he said, that was great. You know, and he was proud of me. And I was glad I passed. But I saw 3 ladies in there who failed 3 times, Cindy. But they never gave up till they passed. They did not give up till they passed.
And what you think, what an example those ladies are setting for the other people in the class and for their families, because they changed the trajectory of generations in their family.
Right. And I got tickled because when they said, well, we failed it 3 times, I thought, y'all just like hanging out together.
That's right.
This is
yes.
to class. But then I thought, oh my gosh, if one of them passes and the other 2 don't, they're going to feel bad, you know. So it's kind of a, but it was fun to see them. They went to high school together, and then they went back and did the GED together. So it was pretty awesome.
And probably continued on their lives supporting each other and supporting their goals.
Yep, that's it. That's it. That's it. Now, let's talk a little bit about the things that are changing with every iPhone that comes out.
Yes.
It will change. I mean, I'll figure this one out, and then I'll be darned the next one totally blows my mind.
Everything in our world, that's a normal analogy of life in general.
I mean, I'm looking at the equipment in our studio. We changed last year, and the guys were like, what do we do with this stuff? You know, you have to learn because it changes so quickly.
That's where, you know, our technology series with the P.E.A.K.S program, it changes based on the interest of the people attending. And a perfect example that we had someone want to learn how to organize their photos on their iPhone. And that sparked conversation of other people. We'd love to learn how to organize our photos. I need to organize my photos and haven't. So the technology it's going to expand because as we offer it again next summer, I'm not sure what our topics will be because it's going to be based on what people need to learn and the changing technology.
Well, does anybody have a desktop now?
Well,
at home, or do most people have laptops?
Laptops, a lot of people, you know, like I still have a desktop in my office, and I have a laptop at home. And, you know, sometimes, and I'm dating myself, Cherie, and you're probably going to laugh, sometimes I wish I still had a typewriter.
I know. I love IBM electric typewriters.
There's something very soothing about that. Now is the time for all good men to come to the aid of their country. But, you know, just we think about that. And now, you know, iPads and phones, just the amount of information that is at our fingertips it is amazing and overwhelming and astounding.
Does anybody ever ask you, could we have a class about the cloud? Because
yes,
the cloud,
that is what,
and I believe drives me crazy.
That may be a good one for next summer, and thank you because
the cloud.
Yes. What is the cloud?
What does that mean? Well, it means that everything you ever had or ever did is in a cloud. Well, what if the cloud rains and bursts? Well, I don't know. I don't know.
You hope it never. Yes. Yeah. But that's a great topic. Thank you. I will take that back today.
And you have to buy. You know, like now I pay $9.99 a month because my cloud is so full.
Yes.
And that is a lesson too. Get rid of stuff that's in your cloud that you don't need, because there's certainly stuff in there that you don't need. But I get tickled because when you said iPad, I have an iPad, then I have a newer iPad, and then I have this. So I have 3 Apple products. I didn't even know that they knew each other, much less that they were friends and connected.
Almost related.
Almost related, yeah. And then I picked up my new iPad one night, and I was doing it. I was actually filming some stuff up at the studio, and I said, well, I'll get a new one because this one's full. I didn't realize that this one and this one share information with this
the phone.
one.
And then you throw in a watch.
Yes.
You've got an Apple Watch, so the same thing.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so confusing. And it really is. But when I got my first BlackBerry, my daughter Angela, who was very smart, had her daddy's technical whiz, she made such fun of me. I never conquered that BlackBerry. You could have had a class that offered a degree in BlackBerry, and I would have failed it. I did not get the blackberry, but these, because they do become one, it almost makes it a little bit easier, I guess. But that cloud still throws me because where is the cloud?
What's in my cloud?
Where is the cloud? What is the cloud? Is the cloud going to collapse? And it's like YouTube. I've had stuff on YouTube since 2009 that our ETC producer, who was here then, who was it that did that? Golly, I can't remember. Adam Chastain, I think, set it up years and years ago. I don't know the password to that one that was set up in 2009. I wouldn't know how to get the password. So you might even offer a class on getting used to YouTube, because
That
when
would
we
be a
come
great
off the
idea.
air,
Yes.
yeah, when we come off the air today, this will go to
Wonderful.
YouTube, and it will be there, I guess, forever until the cloud bursts. so it's very, you know, and if people want to share stuff with their grandkids and they want to put it on YouTube, that's a good way to do it. So it's really kind of,
Those are two great topics.
Yeah, we need to know.
And just it's some more information about P.E.A.K.S. In addition to technology, it's what is the expertise of the presenter, and you would find this very interesting, serving North Georgia and Tennessee, that large. For example, this Thursday, we have Mr. Richard Jabley. Who
I love
do you know,
him.
Mr.
I
Jabley?
love him. I
he
love him.
is our presenter tomorrow.
He's such a great
for
photographer.
P.E.A.K.S.
Oh, he's
And
amazing.
he's presenting on the history of Copper Hill.
That'll be awesome.
It will be, and so the topics range from technology to hearing from local experts like Mr. Jabley. It's just a broad
And
assortment.
what time is that?
I have a brochure, and just to share, it's every Thursday, and we have schedules of our classes. And if anyone is on social media, we have an outstanding Facebook page. It's P.E.A.K.S, P.E.A.K.S, and it has our schedule, times, topics, how to register. But yes, so if Mr. Jabley's class is full. He has
I can imagine it's over full.
We have already filled all the seats for his class because everyone is looking for it. But just to kind of tell you, we have next week, November 2nd, it's how to create spreadsheets using Excel.
Wow.
And then I'm very excited about November 9th. It's the underwater ghost towns. What lies beneath North Georgia lakes?
And Lake Lanier would be one. Oh,
so those are just
Lake
some
Lanier's spooky.
around Halloween. So the topics, I mean, it's from technology. One week you have the history of Copper Hill. The next week you have Excel, spreadsheets, and then underwater ghost tales, what lies underneath the lakes. So and you are able to select the weeks that are of interest to you and just say, hey, I want to come learn about Excel and hear about Copper Hill, but want to stay away from some ghost stories.
Right,
so, but yes, so it's a wide assortment of programs, and I'm going to definitely take your suggestions back for the cloud and YouTube for next summer.
I think because
that's phenomenal.
When you say,
Thank you.
well, it's in the cloud, I literally, I was going, and I don't know if you remember that my daughter passed away. The night before she passed away, she was teaching me, this sounds crazy, to copy and paste. And she got angry with me because she said, Mom, it's so simple. And I said, Angela, I don't understand. And I really didn't, because I had a child who had worked in my office all of her life, and she did everything I needed. And little did I know that night, as she was teaching me to copy and paste, the next day she would go to be with Jesus. And so it was very weird for me, because then I just kind of, left everything alone. But we all depend on our children for a lot of things, and I really do. I can't program a DVD. I can't program a VCR or a remote. I can't program any of that stuff because I never had to.
No.
Because I had a bunch of kids that did it. We better learn. We better learn, because our kids are moving away. They're getting married. They're going to college. We better learn. And I think this is amazing. Now, who came up with the idea to do this?
This program was started, very interesting. UNG has an Institute for Healthy Aging, which specifically targets 55 and over population. And Dr. Elfenbein and I got together and we started talking during COVID. I have a lot of federal grant and state grant experience, so does she. So we were always like, let's find a project and work together because we want to do something, just do something for our community. And during COVID, when everybody was at home, we did an online lecture series. From the university, free for the community, had amazing speakers. But what we found, we were getting people from all over the country, which was great.
Yeah.
And we were targeting 55 plus, but we were having, you know, a whole wide range of demographics from California to New York because of everyone was online. Well, after that, we said, let's see if we can bring a program local and try it. So we started very small, Cherie, very small. And our initial goal was, if in the 2 summers ago, if we have 20 people show up for this program in the summer, we'll be thrilled. We will be over the moon. And we started doing these free workshops with the community. It's, you know, again, it's people presenting what they know, what they're passionate about, what their experiences are.
So there's no teacher involved?
No, it's all peers.
Okay.
Or we utilize some university or community, like ETC helped us present.
Right.
But so we started a summer pilot program, hoping for 20. And by the end of the summer, we had over 260 people participate. And to date, at the end of this summer, we're still collecting data for this fall because it's ongoing. We've had over 1,600 program registrations of working with our community. And it's a wonderful way to meet a community need, build serve the communities that we serve and make a difference because for example, we've done how to health CPR certification classes where people could learn first aid. Fall proofing your home was another one. We had experts come in and talk about how to help make your home fall proof.
You know what I heard a doctor say, and I just thought this was crazy, but it now makes sense to me. Old people fall because they trip out of their house shoes.
Oh.
And he said, as you get older, go barefooted. And I thought, what do you mean as I get older?
You're not talking to me.
He said, as you get older, go barefooted in the house. Go barefooted in the house. And I thought, well, I'd have never thought of that. But I have slipped out of my house shoes before, and I understand it does cause a fall. And so I laughed about that, and I thought, well, that doctor's pretty smart. He's only 49, and he's pretty smart. But it was weird because I thought that's just almost common sense, because if you don't have anything on that causes you to trip, then you're less likely to trip.
That's very interesting. I'd never thought it, but that makes perfect sense. He knew what he was talking about.
Yep.
So.
And as we get old, things are going to happen. Things are going to happen. Well, we're going to take a commercial break in just a minute, but I've got something I have to handle. And I want to say thank you to the veterans. Last night, I went to Ball Ground to the Historical Society, and they honored only veterans who were in active service during their life in Ball Ground. And there were over 100 people who were documented, and this is photos of some of those guys last night. And we had the Vietnam era, World War II, we had the Korean conflict. We had so many guys, and it was so sweet to see them talking and sharing and showing each other's photos, and there were so many amazing photos there. And I got to see 2 people that I love. Diane and Sammy Howell were there, and when I was 9 months pregnant, 9 months and a week pregnant with my precious Cherokee Dawn, my father-in-law passed away, and I had to borrow a dress from Diane. So we've been friends over 49 years, actually family for 49 years. But it was so funny because last night seeing her was like we'd never not seen each other. It was so sweet, and I was so thankful for that. And now we are seeing these guys who literally are telling about their service and what they did. And each and every one of them, we stood and we saluted them and we thanked them. And we are approaching Veterans Day, and you better thank a veteran, because whether it's your education here in North Georgia or whether it's the safety you feel when you walk the streets of the United States of America, you can thank a veteran for all of that. And there's so many of these guys who came home with severe problems, and Sadly, on the news this morning, an Air Force, a service guy who'd been in the Air Force, had just gotten out, was dealing with traumatic mental issues, sadly murdered his wife and his mother. And his 4 children escaped, and they are looking for him, and I hope that they find him. And when you see the picture of him, you'll think he looks like the all-American, young, good-looking kid who, sadly, something happened to him while he was in the military, and he ended up with some tragic mental problems. So we have to thank our veterans every day, because they see things and they bring things home in their mind and in their memory that we would never want to see and we would never want to have to face. So thank you to each and every veteran who was there last night. And then we have a tribute for somebody that I know y'all have been missing. And I know a lot of you know what happened, but my dear, dear friend has gone to be with Jesus. And we have waited to give you the announcement. But Virginia Roberts was a force to be reckoned with, and she and I have gone round and round, up and down, over the highways, over the hills, here, there, and everywhere. And we have done a bunch of craziness and enjoyed every single minute of it. There were minutes of tragedy. There were minutes of heartbreak. There were minutes when we buried her husband, James, who suffered cancer for a very, very short period of time. He adored her, and he wanted her to be cared for, and he was just the best. And James and Jen are now united, and it's all okay now. It's all okay. She is not battling cancer anymore. She is, she's good. She's good, and we're going to be good. And we go back a long, long way. When we started the community meal in McKaysville and had fed over 40,000 meals, there's she and James. And what a precious, precious memory. And so the service again will be on November the 11th at Epworth, and I hope that you will come and be with us. And remember, she was a force to be reckoned with, and I'll tell you, she worked for President Reagan, and I said, I bet there were times Reagan scratched his head and said she had a pretty good idea. So she was an amazing, amazing, strong woman, and yeah, we will miss her, and we will miss her greatly. But it was time to say goodbye. And sadly, cancer does a number on your heart, cancer does a number on your liver, cancer does a number on your kidneys, cancer. Can I say cancer sucks on TV? I think I just did, but it does. Cancer sucks. Hans Ruffert taught me that. So yes. Cancer is evil. It is very evil. But we're going to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to share a little bit of music from Mr. Ellijay, Dwight Sanford. Here we go.
Whether you're in the mood for chicken strips, a delicious burger, our classic banana split, or an upside-down thick blizzard treat, we've got you covered. Hot and fresh food every day, every time, and delicious DQ soft serve make the perfect pair at your favorite place. Not fast food, fan food fast. Your Blue Ridge, Ellijay, and Jasper Dairy Queens are your meet, eat, and treat headquarters.
Thank you for choosing DQ. How may I serve you?
The mountains are calling, and they're closer than you think. Farmers Crossing in Ball Ground offers creekside lots with homes beginning in the 400s. Walking distance to downtown shopping, dining, tennis courts, Calvin Farmer Park, and local events. It also includes a beautiful hike to Long Swamp Creek. Leave the car and the worries behind. Move in by fall 2023. Call Cherie Martin at 404-375-0590 or Evelyn Calhoun at 770-733-0779.
Georgia Medical Treatment Center now has 2 locations to bring you the high-quality holistic care you've come to know and expect. We treat neck, back, and joint pain with chiropractic care and injection-based treatment without the need for surgery or prescription painkillers. Our medical weight loss program can also provide relief while ridding your body of toxins, pounds, and inches while improving your overall health. Call today for a free consultation, 770-345-2000, or go online to georgiamtc.com.
Yeah, and it's just built up.
Hi, I'm Ryan Blaney, a third-generation race car driver. And we dedicate a lot of our time to going as fast as possible. But when my grandpa was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, it was a very unexpected bump in the road for us. It's important to notice if older family members are acting differently, experiencing problems with their memory, or having trouble with routine tasks. Early detection of Alzheimer's can give your family time to explore support services, make a plan for the future, and access available treatments. If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Whether you're swimming in the sea or splashing in the pool, making a masterpiece, or just making memories, writing a great American novel, or writing your term paper that's due tomorrow. Whatever you do in life, Farmers is here to protect it. For all your insurance needs, call Donald Curtis in Blue Ridge.
Okay, Sandy, you grew up where?
I grew up here in
And you went to school
Ellijay.
here
Yes,
because Trace.
I grew up on North Avenue in downtown Ellijay, and then lived in Ellijay. Graduated from Gilmore High School with Trace in your production. His mom. We're not going to say what year. It was just a little while ago. And so yes, and then I went to college and graduated from college, and then had the opportunity to move back to Ellijay downtown in the city with my husband Roger, where we've raised our 3 children. I've got.
So you've got baby bobcats.
Well, they have. Yes, I was a bobcat. I had a baby bobcat, and they have all graduated high school, and my one son works full time for his dad, and I have 2 in college now. So. Yes, but grew up here and have had the opportunity to, as a matter of fact, you and I go way back. From my Pickens Tech days, when I worked for Pickens Technical Institute,
It's
and we were in
crazy.
Jasper together. I think we talked about, I was on a show many years ago with you.
And you know what's so funny? When my mother had her little sandwich shop in Jasper, if it had not been for Pickens Tech and Ruth Ann Wigington, who was in cosmetology, who told everybody, Hazel's got the best spaghetti in the world. They would line up, Pickens Tech would have lunch, and they would line up at our door, and we sold a plate of spaghetti with a piece of garlic bread for $1. $1, y'all, $1. That dates me so bad. And then we did sandwiches, and we had all kinds of great sandwiches, and Miss Freddie Hamrick, whose daughters, Cheryl and Phyllis, the most beautiful women in the world, she would walk in and she would order a roast beef on rye with, she would want mustard on one piece of bread, mayonnaise on the other piece of bread, lettuce and tomato and salt and pepper. Years after that, she walked into my office at our florist, and when she walked in the door, I said, "Hello, Miss Hamrick, you'd like a roast beef on rye?" And I named everything she wanted. She said, "How do you remember that?" I said, "I can tell you what everybody in Jasper ate." I can tell you what everybody ate. But Pickens Tech truly gave me a job, my mother a job, because they all ate Mama's sandwich shop. It was amazing. It was amazing. Yeah.
And you probably had the to know Miss Nancy Prophet
oh
as
my
well.
Gosh, Nancy Prophet was so amazing. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And you know, when I took my real estate test, I took the class at Pickens Tech. And Bill Tanner was my teacher, and then he hired me. I was his first agent, and it was so funny because it's been 37 years ago. So Pickens Tech, there we go, and I showed up for that class late every night, and Bill would say, "You got to get here on time." I said, "Okay, I'm running 3 businesses and got all these kids.
Got 5 kids, 9 dogs.
And it was like my kids would come in and they did karate, band, football, baseball, softball, cheerleading, flag corps. Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts, they all took karate, and then one of them said, I can't even remember which one of them wanted to do something else, and I said, not no, but no, we're not doing anything else. I'm spread as thin as I can spread. But I will tell you, going back to school and getting the GED and getting my real estate license, the greatest days of my life have been the 37 years of meeting people who choose to move to North Georgia. And you know it yourself. We've brought in some amazing people and built lifelong friendships. My best friend ended up being from Kankakee, Illinois. She went to be with Jesus a few years ago, and I want to pick up the phone every day and call her, and she moved to Jasper from Kankakee, Illinois. we have grown so much, and we want to preserve the past while we're embracing the future. So we're gonna take you now to a little music that was just remastered. It belongs to Mr. Ellijay, and he's taken that old music of Hank Sr., and he is doing it himself and remastering it. And I want y'all to sit back and look at that or listen to that. And then when you come back, we're going to share a historical house in Ball Ground that actually, I took Hannah Towns down there, and they shot a video there that she actually won a telly for. And I'm going to take you to the reconstruction and remodeling of the Wheeler House, because today, as of today, preserving the past, the Wheeler House has had probably more weddings than any wedding venue in North Georgia. And when you see what it started with, you'll go, well, maybe I could have done something like that. So we want to talk about preserving the past and embracing the future when we come back in just a minute.
Hear that lonesome whippoorwill. He sounds too blue to fly. The midnight train is whining low. I'm so lonesome I could cry. I've never seen a night so long when time goes crawling by. The moon just went behind the clouds to hide its face and cry. Did you ever see a robin weep when the leaves begin to die? Like me, he's lost the will to live. I'm so lonesome I could cry. The silence of a falling star lights up a purple sky. And as I wonder where you are, I'm so lonesome I could cry.
Well, Mr. Ellijay, there you go. Y'all got a little dose of that man that you love, and he'll be back in the near future. He said last night he's working on the song Mountain Life, and we're going to actually use it in our opening as soon as we can figure out exactly how we're going to do it, but the words are perfect for it. So we want to talk a little bit about preserving the past while we're embracing the future, because you have to embrace the future with technology and with the things that are going on, but it's so very important to don't look at that old house as just an old house. Look at that old house as an opportunity, and we're going to share some photos with you that I have from the Wheeler House. If you have been through Ball Ground, you have seen this amazing, gorgeous property that has had more weddings than anywhere in the world. I mean, this place is just phenomenal. Everybody wants to be at the Wheeler House. And the Wheeler House hosted yesterday a huge event for the Botanical Garden, or the garden club that manages the botanical garden in Ball Ground yesterday, and it had 135 people there. They absolutely fell in love with the place, and this is how bad the Wheeler House was at one time. But the Lusk family has gone in there and done amazing things to it. And when you are looking for a destination of choice, they have this beautiful barn out back now. And actually, Eddie Brackett was the one who sawmilled a lot of that lumber that went into that barn. And it's just a piece of history. So if you're looking for somewhere for an event, I love that old sink. I love that old sink. And I don't know what they did with it, but I want that old sink. I love that old sink. That is the coolest thing ever. But we have to preserve the past. We need to learn about the future. We need to embrace the future, but we must. It is our duty as stewards of this lifestyle to preserve that. And to see the Wheeler House now, it is absolutely gorgeous. It is beautiful. It has been restored. It is fantastic. And if you have traveled through Ball Ground and you haven't stopped to see it, they don't do tours of it or anything like that. But you could schedule your daughter's wedding there, or you could schedule a tea party there, and if you rented the whole barn and used the barn, it's an amazing piece of what you can do if you have a vision for preserving the past. And I think that we all need to do that. Now, this is downtown Ball Ground as it was. It is now, almost everything through Ball Ground now is just painted all white and fresh and bright and looks very different. And that was before La Bon Temps was there, and it is there now. And been there for quite a few years, and we are growing, and we are becoming all we can possibly be while we do preserve the past. And I think that's so very, very, very important. And man, that car, that's a long time ago. I think that must have been my Tahoe. Dang, that's been a while. But it is so cool because we look back and we have made the past better by restoring it. And that's one of the things that we love. Ball Ground is a historical city. Blue Ridge is a historical city. Ellijay has some beautiful historical homes and buildings. Don't come in here and look and say, well, let's just tear that house down. Look at it as an opportunity to turn it into all. Look at that thrift. Have you ever seen things so beautiful in your life? Is that not gorgeous? And look at this baptizing. Is that not the sweetest thing? Is that not, that is up in McCaysville, and I can't remember what church it was. But I loved it. And this is stuff that I've had. I mean, y'all, I've been on the air so long. Y'all have graduated, had kids, gone to college, you name it. You've done it all while I've been sitting here. And it's been a thrill to do that. Now, we've also got some pictures of Harris Farm. Have you got those, Trace, the ones of the interior of the farm? And the old black and white. Now, this is truly my favorite bedroom ever in my life. And that's the bathroom that I added on to Harris Farm. Harris Farm was built in the 1800s, and when I went in there with the design in mind, and you see that color in the hall, that was my favorite wall color ever. I tried to match it, and I missed it, and I didn't even hit on it, and I don't like the color now, but I loved preserving that home. That room was new, but I had to make it look old by adding stained glass, yeah. And when you see the little building out back, that was part of the Cherokee Nation, and that was part of their reservation. So, and then this is an old bridge that was put in Ball Ground that has been not only maintained and restored, it is completely brand new, but they have the base of it has been guaranteed to be engineerily correct, and they have fixed it, and there's gonna be a sign put on it in memory of some special people. So while we're making the present better and making the future better, let's remember to preserve the past, because it's so very important. And I love that y'all are including in a college education people with silver hair. See? Silver and black and blue and green and orange and whatever color.
Yes, yes.
But I love that you're doing that, because we learn so much. Richard Jabley, is he 80-something?
I am not, but he
will teach people
of area history. He has forgotten today more than I could ever learn about the Copper Hill and McCaysville, and just the stories, and have seen, and like you said, preserving history. But he, for example, Mr. Jabley, he's seen Copper Hill, McCaysville from at different stages.
When it was huge and bustling with people to being nothing, nothing, and now it's come back.
Yes. So.
And we remember, our mayor always says, if you don't grow, you will die. And that's the truth. And we saw that with Copper Hill. We saw it with McKaysville. It was dead. It was deader than a doornail. It was bad. And now it's vibrant and doing great.
And
so
we are very excited. So, I wish everybody could come and hear Mr. Jablett, but he will be back, I'm sure. He's one of our
He will have to come
regular
back.
presenters just to come and share his knowledge. So, yes.
now tell people how to get involved and how to sign up. Okay. No, huh?
Oh, we have more pictures.
Yeah, okay, got them? Yay. What you got? Okay. We're going to share some more pictures with you. This is Harris Farm in the 1800s. And this is the original Harris family, and there's Skid Harris, the little tiny little boy, and for people out in the Hill City community who knew Uncle Skid or Grandpa Skid and Lily Jane and her mom and dad, and what a precious, precious story. They came from the Carolinas as a traveling pastor by wagon, and actually the land was acquired during the Indian lottery after the Cherokee were removed, and so they got their land. And this is the Harris family and Cordelia Moss Harris, and with several of their family members, and it is just, that is a piece of history, and I'm so thankful for that. And when you see the banisters on the porch, when we redid that porch, Tommy Boswell brought in a craftsman who actually recreated all the banisters to make it look original, so it was amazing. But it's a beautiful old farmhouse, and I doubled the size of it and just made it, I didn't want it to not look like the original old farm place. So if you're moving to the area and you're looking for a home and you say, well, I really like that, but it needs so much work, don't say that. Say, I really like that, and I can make it all that it can possibly be. So I think that's so important, so important.
And you in showing your the family the stories that porch has told. Through,
Can you imagine?
Yes, and just like the old houses, you know, your family would have an opportunity to, in that renovation, to be part of that story.
Yeah, and I think that we're missing it, because I think some people just walk in and want it all bright and white and new. And I loved having those photos of the Wheeler house, because now it's all new and white and beautiful, but it wasn't always. No. And when you see what it started with, it's absolutely amazing now. So it just takes a little ingenuity, about 47 gallons of paint.
And some elbow grease and a vision.
That's right, that's right. Okay, now tell people how to sign up for the classes.
For P.E.A.K.S, you can contact UNG Blue Ridge at 706-946-5460, or you can connect with us via Facebook, P.E.A.K.S, P-E-A-K-S, or stop by if you're in the Blue Ridge area. We have brochures and more information, but we would love to have you be a part. In our
so
cloud,
cool. I think it's
and
so
you
cool.
know, there may even be a Cherie Martin session if we can convince you to present for us.
That would be
sometime.
fun. That would
we
be
would
fun.
love, because and we ask people, just tell us your story. You could, I mean, we could have everything from cooking classics
would be
or
fun.
Southern history.
That would be
to,
fun.
What life in front of the camera.
Do you know, it's so weird, because when I came here to television, first of all, Roger Fudge made a call, and he said, do you think you could do live TV? And I said, yeah, I guess I could. Well, everybody who worked here had gone to college to do that, but they all used teleprompters. And I said, I'm not using a teleprompter, because everything I do in my life is flying by the seat of my pants. I don't want a teleprompter, and I don't want a script. And so I've done 18 years of television. I've never had a script. I have a plan. I have a program in my mind. And I think about it till 2 o'clock in the morning, and then the next day something happens that changes my mind, because maybe somebody passed, or maybe somebody got sick, or maybe, you know, things change. And so I've always had to fly by the seat of my pants. And that's what I tell people. When you come and do my show, if you know your topic, we can do an hour of anything, because I know a little bit about everything, and a lot about some things, and very little about some things. But I love to learn. I love to learn. And it's so weird, because I've sat here interviewing people from Atlanta that I went to Grady High School. I lived in Morningside. And we realize, as I'm sitting here interviewing them, that we went to the same high school and didn't even know it, you know. So it's so weird how television has brought me, it's crazy. People would walk in our florist and say, I watch you on TV and I live in Chicago. And that was just so weird to me. But that's when we were streaming, and then we stopped streaming, and then we went to YouTube. Well, going to YouTube means that everybody in the world is going to see us. They're going to know how great lifestyle is in these beautiful mountains. They're going to know the opportunity in these beautiful mountains. To me, having ETC as our cable producer and provider, and then having the amazing fiber that we have,
Yes.
and the internet that we're top of the notch. I mean, we're just it. We're all that with that. But at the same time, we are preserving the past because we share a lifestyle here that not everybody's ever been able to enjoy. If you grew up in New York City, you don't know a thing about walking downtown and everybody knowing everybody and saying, hey, how's your mom and them? You know, if you haven't lived that lifestyle, you really don't know about living. We have it made.
It's a gift.
It is.
I truly believe that having the opportunity to grow up here, live here, and raise my family here has been a gift.
Absolutely.
And it's truly a privilege. And I often say, and I feel this way, that this area, and particularly Ellijay, it is not so much more than a place on the map.
Yes.
It is a way of life. It's a feeling. And it's in our hearts.
It is. It is. And I want to read y'all something. When I did Dawn's, I did labels because Dawn makes salsa and jellies, and she ships them all around the world, and people love her stuff. And so she said, Mama, create me a label. And so I love the history of the Cherokee, and I love what the Cherokee meant to America. I hate what we did to them, but in honor of the Cherokee, her label says, Earth in Harmony, Georgia Clay, Blue Skies, Golden Sun, and Green Fields. And I chose all the colors of the Cherokee because the Cherokee say if you live in harmony with all the colors of nature, and I was thinking about this yesterday because when Bob brought us his new CD, it has the colors of the Cherokee on it. It is the earth, the fields, the water, the mountains. It's all of that. And that's what Ellijay, Blue Ridge, Copper Hill, McKaysville, Ball Ground, that's what all of the towns that we serve offer each and every one of you. And if you're watching us in New York, if you're watching us in Chicago, if you're watching us in LA, you need to get you a ticket and get here as quick as you can, and I'll sell you a house. But this is a lifestyle that was created many, many years ago, and we want to preserve the past. We want to preserve the past, but we are definitely embracing the future. And I think that's so very, very important.
Yes, I completely agree. And it's an opportunity that we have to do that.
Absolutely. Now, we were talking about scholarships because ETC is famous for giving scholarships. They have been, that's the thing I love about this company. They don't just, they put their money where their mouth is. And if they tell you they're going to do something for your community, you can go to the bank with it. They're going to do something for your children. They're going to help with scholarships, but you also have other people who help with scholarship programs at North Georgia.
Again, since I serve on the UNG Blue Ridge campus, and just this I was blown away with it, Cherie. We had a scholarship event September 28th for our students on the Blue Ridge campus, and because of local generous donors who care about the next generation, who really want to invest in the future of this community, we gave out over $15,000 in scholarships that one night. That included, and I know they're close friends with you, the Sandra Mercier Scholarship that the Mercier family established for students at the University of North Georgia who, and going back to preserving the past, this is a perfect example. Ms. Mercier had a legacy. And she truly
was so amazing.
Was, I mean, an amazing educator and gave back so much to our community. Well, her family and the community and teachers in the school systems throughout our whole region helped to establish the Sandra Mercier Education Scholarship.
That's awesome.
And what that does is it's based on the impact she had and shows the impact, but it's for future teachers who specifically want to come back to this area and teach in the schools where they grew up in and give back to their local communities. That's one example. We have numerous other scholarships that businesses have sponsored and just wanting to invest in students. But for for a community to be able to give out $15,000 in one night.
That's awesome.
To their students.
That's awesome.
Impactful. Very
impactful. Well, I'm going to go back to what happened with Jen, and I will tell y'all, she was so much fun. And when we got to the community meal in McKaysville, I can see her walking in every night. We would serve together, we would greet, we would take food, we would do everything we did. And when Joyce Bryson called us and said, do y'all want to be involved in this? Well, I lived in Jasper then. And to get off the air here and then go to McKaysville and work on food, I actually had a cabin up in Mineral Bluff then, and I would go to my cabin and I would prepare food, and then I would take it to the community meal. Jen was living in McKaysville then. We found so much fellowship, and this is something that I think you will find in your class of older people. There were so many people who didn't like eating alone. If you live alone and you don't like eating alone, and you don't have neighbors close by, that's a tough, tough thing. And we found that this community meal didn't just mean that you were going to show up because you didn't have the money to eat. It meant that you were looking for fellowship and you were looking for companionship. And that is one of the greatest things that I can say ever came out of McKaysville, Georgia. And now the Copper Hill, the church had to do it because once the restaurant closed and sold, then we lost that venue. But when we look back at that meal and those people, that's when I saw this community at everything it could be. I would be walking through the IGA, pushing my buggy, buying groceries, and I'd turn an aisle and somebody would say, Ms. Martin, I know you're working on the community meal. Here's $100 to go toward food. And then I would go to another place to pick up something and somebody would say, here, Ms. Martin, here's $100 to go toward next week's meal. Or my friend David White would go in, and when he got in line at the community meal, he would say, Cherie, I put $100 in there, let the next 100 people eat free. That's what this community is made up of. This community isn't made up of a bunch of strangers sitting on their porch that don't speak to each other. This community is made of old-timers, newcomers, some-timers, and all-timers. I mean, it is made
that's
up,
a great idea.
It is made up of everybody putting their best foot forward into the communities that we serve. And I think that that is what makes us grow, makes us become all we can be. And we have to do it together.
Yes.
We have to do it together. And I think that's so, I mean, you and I have a history so long. She might even remember when I had long, straight hair. I mean, it was a long time ago, y'all. But we think about all the good that we have seen happen. You know, and Ruby Dean was over. Oh my God!
We can tell stories about
We could tell
Ruby.
lots
we
of
would
stories.
need another hour. I have one day. Ruby Dean, I will never. She looked at me and she goes, I don't know what you have in your water, but you've got to get it out because I have got to do something about your hair. Yes,
funny.
I think
she was so precious, and both those precious ladies
Yes.
died from cancer. Yeah, both those precious ladies. So this is October. We're winding down October. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Women under 40, get your mammograms. There is a strain of breast cancer that's hitting women under 40 that is so horrific. Get your mammograms. Get your mammograms, get your checkups, keep in touch with your doctor, and know your own body. It is so very, very important. I'm wearing pink today in honor of all of you. And I walked in the Ball Ground Post Office the other day, and they have pink everywhere, and they have ribbons, and I was excited about that. So thank you for honoring everybody who's battled that. Look at the time. It's time for us to get out of here. Sandy, thank you so much for being here.
It's gone by fast.
It's gone by
had
fast.
a wonderful day.
Thank you. We'll see you again soon, only on ETC. And don't forget, go to YouTube and subscribe. Hit that subscribe button, and you'll get a notice every time we post something new. I'll see you again soon. Bye, y'all.